hate that for you.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I love The Way Home.
I'm Ryan. I watch the show.
I'm Dan. Those aren't my notes either. And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark. It's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Oh, boy.
Let's get this out of the way. Have you found your notes?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I was
Note gate 25.
That's right.
no, they're there. I opened up my notes app, which isn't where my notes are. I was looking at my 90s con priority list. That's not what I need.
Yeah, Mark Paul Gosselaar now has 3 days
All right,
there.
interesting.
So
So you brought that up, and so clearly you want to talk about it. Give us your
What is it?
90s con
priority
priorities.
list.
It's kind of layered. Are you sure?
Oh,
All right.
listen, are you kidding me?
When has
that
when
ever
has this
stopped
ever not
us?
been layered?
All right. So I met Mark Paul a few years ago, but I do need to meet him one more time because I'm going to have him sign. I'm going to make a baseball card from his character from Pitch and have him sign.
Are you going
it.
to make AI do that, or are you going to do it
No,
yourself?
no.
like
I'm
an
going to
artist?
use. I'm going to
Okay,
use
good.
real. I have made AI images of Mark Paul on Pitch, but they're not to my liking. So I'm going to use a real image.
You are so sick.
Actually, I can probably find that real quick. Hold on.
You are so sick.
Hold on. I can find that real quick.
I'm not bailing you out of anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here
And
we
you
go.
said
Hold
it
on.
plural, like you've
Yeah.
made multiple.
So here's him holding the World Series
Oh
trophy.
my
bad.
gosh.
Yeah. So, but I was like, you know what? I'll just make the baseball card.
To be clear, though, like Alyssa hasn't left you, right?
Dude,
No, she's in the other room.
Mark Paul meeting Ryan Pappolla, seeing that someone made him a baseball card from a TV show he hasn't done in almost a decade.
It was almost a decade
And
ago. Yeah.
please sign it.
They did 10 episodes. Yeah.
I don't know how anyone in that story sleeps at night.
We really hit it off the last time. I'm sure it will go swimmingly.
He's gonna
So
remember
I
that's
bet
you.
he'll remember
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
yeah, no. And so then I
Is
think
that number one? That's one on the list.
Well, I mean,
God,
they're in
this has to be a
particular order,
separate
but like,
Well,
I mean,
that's pending baseball card creation, though, right?
well,
Yeah, he's gonna
Zazzle
knock
says
it
they
out.
can take care. I mean,
Zazzle's got it.
the only fear is that Zazzle says I can't use a real image of a real person, but I think it will be fine. Like, I
Yeah.
think it will be fine.
Likeness
Yeah.
is
Well,
not
use the
important.
AI then.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, Brian, I like the way you think in your cute little sweater. So then DCOM Descendant fans will like this. I'm going to meet all 3 Lawrence brothers. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Dan, you might not even know this. Here's the thing. Did you know that Joey Lawrence was the voice of Oliver and Oliver and Company?
I did actually know that. And Billy
Yeah.
Joel wrote the song,
Whoa.
which I love. But
Isn't that wild that he
that
was
is
the voice of
crazy.
Oliver?
That's right. Are you going to
Like,
bring him an AI image of a real dog?
No, I have a Disney. No, that would be
It's mean.
ridiculous.
Although, write that down for later. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
What can AI do with Oliver and Company? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I have a Disney store. Well, I bought one just recently. A Disney store lithograph of Oliver and Company.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so Oliver and Company is one of my favorite Disney movies. I didn't know that he was the voice until a few years ago. That's very exciting.
Ryan, when you are 100 plus and you somehow pass away, God,
Trying to
forbid,
live a long time. Yeah.
and your kids and your children's children all find this information out, they're going to be so sad because you were a light to all that you were around. But they're going to be real disappointed to go to this will.
Hey, I feel like, hey, listen, like you joke, and this is off topic, but that helmet's only going to appreciate in value. Like, you know, if nothing else.
So can you imagine the grandkid that gets the Oliver and Company? What was it again?
Lithograph.
Lithograph.
From the Disney store. There's a brand, you'll like this.
Imagine.
Aaron will like this too.
To
There's a
Lil
Disney
Timmy, I leave my Oliver and Co. lithograph.
There's a
Signed
Disney
by
store.
Joey Lawrence against his will.
There's a. No, I'm giving him $50. Like, you know, like
He's
so.
going to need it for those alimony payments, whatever it is.
they're
So
back
listen,
together.
we gotta
Divorce is
run
off.
through this
Sorry.
quick. We gotta run through this quick
All right,
because
guys.
people actually like The Way Home and they don't want to hear about my stupid toys, right?
They may not want to hear this episode. They may want to hear this more if they like The Way Home.
Andy Lawrence is going to sign a one Saturday morning activity book. I can bring that up real quick, actually. Hold on. Maybe I can't. This new iPhone photo app is just the pits.
It's the pits.
That's why I never update my phone, brother.
All right. If you're on Philo, here, I don't know how well you can. Is the light getting it good?
Yeah,
that's
that's hitting it
good.
perfect. You're good.
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's
that's
pretty good. You're gonna have.
What do you have for the middle?
You're gonna
guy?
have TJ.
Matt? Is it Matt?
TJ what? TJ?
So Matt is the maybe.
What do you mean?
this
Maybe
is
like you don't want to talk to him, or maybe he's
no,
not gonna
no.
be
I've
there?
met him before. Like,
Stop being so cool, Ryan.
yeah. So Matt was. This isn't gonna go well. Matt was on a show called. He's on a Power Ranger ripoff called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
God Almighty. God Almighty. I don't.
And this will be surprising. I didn't really watch the show, but I do have 3 Gordy watches, like of the show of the character. He was the main character, Servo, and one of them is one of the things where it's like if you flip it, it's like you see Matt Lawrence's face, and then you see the Power Ranger ripoff. And on the side of that watch, there's a really good slot for an autograph. And so I think some white paint pen right on the side there could really sing.
But you're just thinking that's not set in stone yet, right?
That's not set in stone because I might also meet Brian Austin Green and have him sign a Human Torch figure.
Brian Austin Green is just a made up name, right? He's just a regular human. Who is
he was
that?
from the 90210.
Oh, the 90210.
He was
Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Cyber spelt with an S. They thought they
what's
were
up
being
with
real
that?
hip.
So what did Brian Austin Green do that you want to sign? What is he going to sign?
He
for
was
you?
the voice of the Human Torch in the 90s Fantastic Four cartoon. He also dated Tiffany Thiessen in the 90s for anyone who's interested. So pretty
And
cool
that-
guy.
Is that the
pretty cool
the
guy.
order? Is there anything else left?
Oh, well, what we'll definitely do, me and my old roommate, shout out to Sean.
Sean, shout out.
I lived with him during the pandemic. We binged a lot of shows, including Brotherly Love, starring the Lawrence
Dear
brothers.
I watched one episode and was like, I would rather gouge my eyes out.
Show was great Christmas episode. Brand, write that down. A Roman Christmas is the name of the episode.
Roman Christmas.
Yeah, well, they're the Roman family.
In the Colosseum.
No. They're just their last name is Roman.
I got it.
And so I have a. They worked at an auto body shop, and I have a Roman customizing custom shirt, whatever the heck, And I'm gonna ask Sean to get the same thing, and then we take the group photo with the Lawrence brothers. And right now that's it. But they did just announce Will Friedle and Ryder Strong recently. So everything
right now.
I've met both of them
that's
as well, though. And
So you're gonna. I'm doing quick math. I mean, you're gonna drop $500-600.
Couple hundo easy. Couple
Now,
hundo.
how does that? That's not eBay money, right?
No, that doesn't. count as
No,
eBay
but
money.
that's the you take it out in cash of the bank weeks ahead, and then it doesn't even feel like you're spending.
That's exactly right.
That's how you do it. It's all about how you feel.
Yeah,
It's a
so
workaround.
I'll take if that's in late March, I'll take that out in like early March. Just let it sit in the wallet for a couple weeks, and then it's like, wow, I didn't lose a dime.
Hey, I gotta be honest.
Is Brotherly Loves a Roman holiday? Is that on your watch list every year?
Oh yeah, that was part of the 100.
Can I
when
tell
was
you
that?
this?
October?
No. That's all the big time Christmas episodes I watch basically like a week and a half before
You would consider
Christmas.
that a big time Christmas episode?
I pair it with because of the Matt Lawrence connection. I pair it with the Boy Meets and Girl Meets World Christmas episodes. So
Dude,
yeah.
Wow. Aaron Shea had the IMDb pulled up in season 1. The Roman holiday episode is the that I can see is the IMDb user worst rated aside from Witchcraft. It's the worst rated IMDb user rated episode in the entire season at 7.4 aside from Witchcraft.
Well, it's right there with the
at
sleepover
6.9.
show.
A passing grade, Dan. I mean, if
But like
Mr.
the rest
Thompson
of these are
was
like
giving me a 74, I'd be
9,
going to the next
8.2,
grade.
8.2. It's the second lowest of 23
Uptown Girl
episodes.
doesn't even have a rating.
Yeah, a couple of them don't. But of the
Better than
20,
that one, then.
like, this is wild. A Roman holiday. It's your week of Christmas viewing. I'm gonna,
No, not week of, like a
if
week and a
I-
half.
I know this show. I do know this show. I remember when
You watched one episode.
I watched when it
Well,
came
you're
out.
such a fraud. Yeah,
I'm such a what? A fraud?
you're such a fraud.
No.
You know this show, like you know Brink, like you know all
I
these
watched
things.
the
Out
premiere of
old
this
Bran
show
and I like.
when it aired. When it aired, Rye Guy, I watched the premiere of this episode.
I know it
So
wasn't
if-
Oppenheimer.
If
Matt
I,
Lawrence
if
didn't let off the atomic
watch,
bomb.
if
What's up
I
with that
watch
bomb?
Roman Holiday, am I going to enjoy it? Or
I
not?
say, here's what. Listen, I don't have any say in the schedule for Bramblefest, but I say we take it to the tape. Roman Holiday D3, a little twofer, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Roman Holiday
Yeah.
D3.
Let's carve out 2
the
hours.
back to
at
back
Bramblefest.
everyone's been asking.
Let's
for.
carve out 2 hours in Bramblefest to alienate everyone.
That sounds like the next title of my
a
autobiography.
double feature. Those may have come out in the same year. Like
D3 was 96. 96.
So that episode is 96, is it? I think so. I think
we might
Roman
be-
Holidays.
How about we do it in 2026 and we
95.
call it the 30-year anniversary?
Okay, that's beautiful. I love that.
So Roman Holiday, December of 95. D3.
You think you could do this in your mind while I talk about The Way Home?
D3.
This is why I stick
October
to AI art,
96.
because I talk about my other interests and you guys just really like to poke. You like to poke.
I
you
don't
know?
poke.
I think it's fascinating, and you know that I love you, and
I
it's
love
all
you,
in
man.
good fun. It's
Oh,
all in
yeah.
good fun. I mean,
Maybe-
to a
maybe
certain
for
point.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk The Way Home, season 3, episode 6. It's called
For Ain't No Sunshine. I actually
It
remember
is.
this. Yes.
Ain't No Sunshine.
Ain't No Sunshine.
February 7th,
A
2025.
70s song for a distinctly 70s episode of television.
They spent a lot of time in that time period. Yeah.
And a win a little something like this, try to keep up. It's Port Haven, 1965, and some kids are running through the woods playing tag. The White Witch out by the pond. Little Evelyn is there, little Colton's there. Evelyn goes by the pond to talk to her fairies. She drops, that's what she has friends, and they're called fairies. She drops her
You don't have to
flash.
explain yourself. You're doing a synopsis.
I know. She drops her flashlight into the pond, and when she's trying to get it, she falls into the water. Colton goes in after her, and we see the water vine, if you will, grab his leg. Cut to present day, and Elliot is talking to Emma again. She says it's great seeing him and Kat together, and that she'll think that it's going to be forever. Cut to the 1800s, where Kat and Jacob are watching the people leaving the wedding. Remember?
Yeah.
Jacob sees his dad and can't stop himself from running and giving him a hug. Thomas has been watching the whole thing. Not biological dad, 1800s dad.
Yes.
I wanted to, clarify it. Goes right into him. And Thomas has been watching the whole thing as well. Cut to the 70s, where Dell is drawing on Colton's guitar. She draws a fish because she says she's a fish out of water, and Colton caught her. Mixing two different fish metaphors to make one. She says she hopes that he remembers her when she's gone. You're gonna miss me
miss her
I'm gone.
when she's gone.
Back to present day, and Max is annoying Alice again outside of school. That's right, school. Elliot shows up because
He still teaches. Yeah.
and she still goes to school. And he delivers bad news. She is going to be partnered up with Max in a class project. And she's disappointed by that. Back in the 1800s, Jacob and Kat get an update that Susanna finally gave in to Cyrus's request for marriage because he basically saved her life because people were going after her because they thought that she was a witch. Just then, Queen Susanna, we will call her now that she's betrothed, shows up to see if her eyes betrayed her. They did not. Jacob is like, what gives, little lady? And Susanna tells them both that they need to go back to where they came from. Nick is back in town, present day. Nick is back in town to give Elliot another one of his famous pep talks. We get a flashback of Nick giving Elliot a pep talk on his wedding day before getting married to Emma. He was having doubts that day. He gave a pep talk. Cut to back to the 1800s, and Kat decides that instead of leaving, she's going to go to the wedding reception. They're having a little dance. So she begins dancing and ends up dancing with Thomas, Jacob, who's also there. Jacob stays behind and in a fit of rage grabs a gun. He goes to the reception to shoot Cyrus, but his dad stops him and takes him outside. And just then, red stuff starts falling from the sky, and they assume that it's blood. It's bad news. Cyrus sees Kat and is like, "I know you, you witch. You're the reason this is happening."
She's a witch girl.
Susanna says, "She's not the witch. I'm the witch. I'm Spartacus." Kat is like, "No, it's me. I'm the White Witch." And now we're bringing that into the mix. They go to arrest her and arrest Thomas in the process, and also Jacob. Luckily, Thomas has a man on the inside that helps him escape, but that doesn't last long. They are now taken captive, and Kat finds herself in Cyrus's office. He tells Kat that he thinks that having a witch on his side could be good for him, maybe help control the situation. He asks how he can stop the sky from falling. She says, I know things, but I can't stop it. Cyrus says, not good enough, man, and tells her that he's going to have to kill her, Thomas, and Jacob. Cut to present day. Emma shows up and asks Elliot why he didn't propose to her with the family ring. Good question. Del and Alice finally make up, so that's nice. Back in the 1800s, it's hanging time, y'all.
Hang time.
A crowd forms. And
My man.
A crowd.
I got you.
A crowd forms, and they are
Together,
loving that they are.
hang time.
Can please? I just wanna.
Where did the moon go? Hang time.
The crowd is ready to see some hanging. Kat remembers via a song that the solar eclipse is going to happen, and she says, "I'm gonna make the moon disappear." Cyrus is like, "You're lying," but then it happens. So they free her, and she forces Cyrus to free them all, or else she'll do it again. Emma asks Elliot, back in present day, Emma asks Elliot if he ever loved her, and then she kisses him, and he eventually pulls away. Kat and Susanna finally have a good conversation before Kat goes to leave. She goes to say goodbye to Thomas, and that's the whole thing. Thomas is like, don't go. And she's like, I'm leaving. Jacob tells Kat that he thinks that he needs to stay and try to save his dad. Kat says he can't save anyone with time travel. Just ask me. I know. And here's something also you need to know about what I did. I tried to save our dad, and in the process, I actually was responsible for his death. And Jacob gets mad and pushes her into the pond, which causes her to show up in 1965. And she overhears Evelyn begging for her life in the water, jumps in, saves her life, and then swims down and untangles Colton's leg from the vine. She pops back up, and Dell is there for some reason, and Kat is freaking out, and she's like, I killed Dad! And that, my friends, was The Way Home, Season 3, Episode 6. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Okay, so you went to the back half, and I went to the front half, and that's fine.
That's what we did. Sometimes we don't hit it.
I know.
I
You get
know.
it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this episode down here on
Deck the Hallmark.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about The Way Home, Season
Hello.
3, Episode 6. Hello. Let's break this episode down. I think we're going to start with a hot take. We're going to share our thoughts on the episode, and I'll kick it over to you, Ryan.
This is why I showed up today, right here.
What'd you think about this one?
All right, before I start, I mean this. This isn't a bit. I'm being truly, truly serious. For anyone who's really enjoying this show, I apologize. I mean
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah, same.
because I want to love the show. My role here is to be closer to Bran than it is to Dan. I don't come into these deals trying to be super critical. I don't enjoy yucking other people's yum. I enjoyed the first season of this show.
So
I
much.
enjoyed the first 3 episodes of this season, which was probably a little more than Dan did. I just thought that the show has been really bad the last 2 weeks, and I thought this episode was awful.
Yeah.
It doesn't give me pleasure to say that. It really does not. I would say that especially the end of this episode, which is really revving up to like, it really wants someone, probably Bran, to watch those last 5 minutes and go, we are back, baby. End quote. Yeah. And like, I thought that the writing was comically bad, other than Kyler Lee's performance, in those very last 10 seconds. I thought all of it was just absurdist, and like it didn't land for me. I just don't know what we're doing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And not like in the sense that the show is primarily a mystery and we're supposed to be asking all of these questions. Dan, you brought up Lost either last week or the week before, and it's a show I love, but one of the biggest critiques on Lost that is fair is that they brought up 150 cool mysteries throughout the 6 seasons, and they maybe gave us firm answers on 30 of those, right?
Yes.
So this show is probably already in the territory of, I promise I'm not trying to be mean. the show's not as interesting as Lost
Bingo.
or those mysteries. Like, it's like, so I'm just no mention of like, that Papa Landry, we found out he was probably a time travel 2 weeks ago in this episode. We very barely ever talk about where Casey is, even though that's supposed to be this driving plot line. Like, we just keep, it's either a Ouija board last week or we're in the 60s for literally 8 seconds this week. I don't know what I'm supposed to focus on. And then the things that we are focusing on, like the 1800s, just for me, and I think I can speak for all three of us, aren't overwhelmingly interesting.
What? How dare you? Let me speak for myself there, Ryan.
Yeah, there's some positive, sure. I like young Dell and young Colton. Those scenes are good. It feels like it accelerated very quickly, but whatever. They have good chemistry. I guess the White Witch stuff was cool. And to be fair, to contradict myself, at least that's, something they brought up seasons ago that they were exploring further. So kudos to them for that. I don't have an issue with the Elliot and Emma kiss, but I just find it weird that we spent all this time building up Kat and Elliot. This is like a OC season 2 where they just like started changing things for the sake of changing things. Granted, I'm happy with this because I don't think Kat and Elliot have any chemistry. I'm genuinely very glad people are enjoying the show, and I do not mean that facetiously, but I am not.
I will say this, Ryan. We've had a lot of people that have commented or messaged us and said, we're happy that there is a podcast that is speaking something different on this television program, because there's a lot of people that actually do agree with us. And I'm actually with you on not wanting to yuck people's yums, even though that is not what anybody thinks about me. I'm 100% with you that it would be much easier if things were actually good. But there are people out there that are not only with us, but appreciate you, Ryan. And you need to hear that.
And Brand, I'm sorry that was long-winded, but the only thing I'll say to that, Dan, like we talked about this last season for sure. It was a lot easier with a show like Ride. We had fun. Everyone thought that show was bad. We came in here, we weren't peeving anybody
Didn't
off.
have the weight of the world on our shoulders.
Yeah, it's like, I thought season 1 was a great product. I didn't think season 2 was. I was optimistic like Bran was for the first 3 weeks. These last 3 weeks have gotten progressively worse. If next week is great, I'll say it's great. Right now, it's not a good product, Bran.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed this week.
That's going to sting worse than anything I say or
Is
Ryan
it a
says.
Coincidence that I'm disappointed on the week where we spent the most time in the 1800s? I don't think it's a coincidence. Literally not a single second in the 1800s worked for me, and I just wanted to get out of it as quickly as possible. And this episode did a thing that I didn't think that it would ever do, and they went from let's explore 3 different timelines to a 4th. They introduced a fourth time period here with 1965, and that concerns me. I think the concern is they've bitten off more than they can chew, and they expect us to be able to chew right along with it. And my mouth's not that big, and so I'm struggling. I'm struggling here. I think that there's still time, and I hold on. I think that there's still time, and there are clearly enough storylines. But there's enough storylines that if they just focus on some of them, I will be back. I could be one back next week. We know that. Yeah. But this one didn't win me over. It lost me, and that's disappointing. Dan?
Yeah, I think disappointing is the word. I'm kind of past angry. I think all three of us are. I think it's just unfortunate. And I don't think anyone, even the people that are apologists for this television program, I mean, there are people that still like the last 2 seasons of West Wing or season 4 of Community or season 2 of Friday Night Lights. Like, there are people out there that go, no, I don't care that the last half of Dexter isn't any good. I still love it. I'm fine with those people. Those are wonderful people. I love all things Dexter, and I cannot defend half the seasons of Dexter. So I would say that people that love this show, even they, if you really had them on a polygraph, would say this is disappointing. I don't, Ryan, I appreciate what you're doing, and I don't ever want to yuck someone's yum for entertainment value. I don't. I know that flies against what people might think over the last half decade or so of content, but not my desire. My desire is to be honest and tell you what I think of things and not be personally mean about it. And this is so unfortunate what's happening here because, Brian, you mentioned Lost, and you're right. People hated that finale. I love the finale. People hated that finale because it didn't answer at least 75% of the questions that it or the mysteries that it posits. And that show goes wayward in the 4th season, speaking of shows that go wayward. And some people say the 5th as well. But that show was pretty relentlessly entertaining and having you guess at the possibilities. And so this show right now, I believe, I have no proof of this. I believe that there is going to be some sort of cataclysmic, massive twist at the end of this season. And I believe that twist, if we've not seen the last 6 episodes, doesn't make any sense, and everyone would be able to point it out immediately if you did the twist all the way back at the beginning of the season. But I believe that all the stuff that we have going on is not leading to anything in particular aside from a cavalcade of convolution that is supposed to muddy the waters and make us forget what these characters are supposed to be doing, who they are, what they mean, and what the whole point of this show was. And so when we get this twist, we'll be so out of whack from whatever this is we're watching that we're going to just be relieved that the show is doing something that we remember. I believe that with 100% of my being, that we're going to get a twist that harkens back to season 1. Something is going to fundamentally change at the end of this, and the hope of the creators is that we've muddied the waters so much that will reshuffle the deck. And I'm here to tell you, it's not gonna, because this is really, really, really bad television. There's no conviction about where this is going. The 1800s that I said we were going back to, that Bran was hopeful we weren't in episode 1 of this season, that we spend the majority of the time in this week, is more interesting than the 1970s. How is that possible? How was it that the things going on in the 1800s were a tick more interesting than what we did in the 1970s last week? I like, that may be just my take, but that was crazy town. That was just insane. Kat's ability to memorize songs and know exact weather patterns and when things are going to happen is absurd in the nth degree. You and I both know that Elliot and Kat are going to be together at the end of this thing.
They're in game.
They're in game, as the kids say, or as the adults say. They're in game. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. Kat has better chemistry with Thomas and Susanna. Elliot has better chemistry with Amy by a mile.
I believe it's Emma.
And Emma, even Emma, both of them, I would say. But here's my thing is, season 1 of this show, which is all about trying to fix things you can't fix and regret and generational trauma and all these unbelievable things that you talked about how great it was, Ryan. A season 1 storyline is Elliot realizing that him pining for a woman in the future made him miss the actual love of his life. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm here for that storyline. So this is a sideshow, so you can get mad that Elliot and Kat aren't together, when in reality, it's kind of more authentic than anything else that this show's been doing for a long time now. This is a mess. It's a mess. I don't think there's a way out of it, and I am not hopeful. I'm more than happy to tell you if an episode's gripping and great, but you remember that episode in the middle of season 1 where they're looking for Jacob at the carnival in 1999? Holy cow. That episode of television was gripping for 43 straight minutes. We've not seen hide nor hair of anything near that in seasons 2 or 3, and I think both of you would agree with that statement.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunate.
It's time for a break.
Phew. We didn't do all the feels. I actually have one, so.
Oh. It's time for all the feels. I saw the time.
Yeah. Well, we did a tight 10 on the Lawrence brothers and Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Hey, don't blame me for this. Don't you dare. Don't you dare blame me because the way home's disappointing.
Roman holiday. Roman holiday.
Ryan, any feels?
Here's the reality, Brano. I need to sink. Yeah, it's something I'm trying out. I need to sink my teeth.
Brano.
I need to sink my teeth into something, right? We're not going to stop reviewing the program because we don't like it. So Do I really care about Tomcat, as the kids or adults say? Not particularly, but Team Thomas.
Yeah.
Let's go. Team Thomas.
Yeah.
I need something. And you know what? When he was like, what did he say? He was like, did you miss me when they're starting to do the do-si-do? I was like, that's my guy.
That's my guy.
And like, so that's what I'm doing, Brano.
Brano. Brano is a new flavor of like kids brand cereal.
Man. No.
You don't have anything. Bran has nothing.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I have disappointed
this.
feels. Dan?
This is so great. Bran not having feels is kind of the highlight. I have actual feels here.
Was it watching the show with me and seeing how sad I was?
Kinda. It was one. I was right about the 1800s, and you know I love that. There's one scene in this episode that does ring true, even with all we've been through, and it is Del and Alice talking, and Del explaining to Alice why she cannot do this with her. She cannot relive the 70s with Alice going back there, and it is because those memories are all she has. So powerful. There are so many things that we look, you know, all three of us to varying degrees, with me being a 5 of 10 and Ryan being a 90 of 10, have a very strong nostalgia pull for the things of their childhood. We all do. There are things that we hold up on a pedestal. Like for me, Rookie of the Year. Guys, I watched it with my kids. It was a 10 of 10, just like it was back then. But if I'm being honest, it's not a 10 of 10. But as a kid,
it's a 12 of 10.
Right. Yeah, like we all have things that we don't want ruined for us that are not movies or stupid things that are just like fun songs or whatever. We have real memories with real people in our lives, and we hold those things in crystal. We have them the way we want them. We don't want that to change. And Del explaining that to Alice was like amazing. I was like, for a brief minute and a half, I was like, where has this been? It was wonderful, and I loved it. So feels, we did it.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll get to the way what and the sink or swim here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking about The Way Home. It's episode 6. We're having a good time.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah. Upbeat.
Let's get to the way what. So we're talking about what in this episode. Let's go way what. Ryan?
My first one here, I just wrote in all caps, fish burger, ? Have you ever had a fish burger?
I have a shrimp burger regularly. A shrimp burger. Fish burger I don't know about, but there's a restaurant in town, Kitchen Sink, shout out, that makes an amazing shrimp burger. It's whole lump shrimp put together in a patty. It's got some really good, like a comeback sauce on it with some Parmesan crust. It's fantastic.
I'll keep that in mind for July. All right,
shrimp
cool.
burger. Shout out.
One question answered. At one point before an act out, Kat goes, and like it's like really meant to be like an intense moment. She goes, I am going to that wedding reception. And I just laughed out loud. It was like, what are we doing here? I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. To the point we talked about this last week, you know, so Nick comes back in this episode, and you know what this show doesn't do? We've talked about this every week. I don't want to keep, bringing up old stuff. But you know what every other show does when they bring back a maybe a bit more obscure character? You know, in the previously on, they'll just give you that character's name and their face.
Yeah.
Nick was in like 2 scenes before. I remembered his face. I remembered who he was. You could have given me 20 guesses. I would not have said his name is Nick. And it's just like, hell, the show is aired weekly. It's not aired back to back on Friday afternoon through Friday night. Like, tell us who these people are. Just really annoys me.
No, you're 100% right there. I want to give that what it deserves before you quickly move on. The lack of due diligence there is crazy. If you're going to have more characters than When Calls the Heart, you want a hot take? When Calls the Heart does better with their character stable than The Way Home is doing right now. And go listen to me talk about When Calls the Heart. If you have a character, when Calls the Heart will do this, like when Caleb Wallace is coming back into town, the previously on will have something about her in it. Why isn't this show doing that? Have you noticed that at all?
Yes.
Sorry. Go back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Dano. I'm gonna retire Brano. I just don't think it was
It
landing
wasn't
the way
working.
that I wanted.
Brando, you throw you Brando.
I'll give maybe next week.
But on this show, I'm Bran. I'm not Brandon. Who's Brando? What's the D doing
I say Brando.
Yeah, but you're special.
Yeah.
last one for me.
Thank
Is
you.
it really that offensive to not give someone your family wedding ring? Like, I'm asking. Like, was Emma or Ashley, as Dan likes to call her? Was she
Emily? Come on, man. Put some respect on Emily's
I think it
name.
was Amy. Let's run the tape back.
It's Amy. I believe it was Amy. Yeah. I think
that
we're
like
both
really-
wrong. It's not Amy. It's not Emily. It's not Ashley. It's Emma. We'll get
Was
there.
that like? Was she like justified to be that angry?
White
like,
girls? Am I right?
yeah.
I think her hurt there is that he now suddenly cares about it because Kat's around.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you didn't think that I was worth this ring
I think
that
if
you're
she-
clearly planning to use for Kat.
If she knew about it at the time they got engaged, then it would sting a lot. But if she didn't and now she cares, I think that's about Kat.
Fair. I mean, that's
Yeah.
clearly just me not being emotionally intelligent. So that's on me.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
you're,
it for
you're
me,
crafting a
Fran.
baseball card for Mark Paul Gosselaar, Ryan. Don't tell me you're not emotionally intelligent.
Well, he and I are, on a very different.
You guys are
plane.
in
different
game.
level.
Is that correct? Is that what, is
That's
that
what
the
it
kids
means.
say? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what it means. Guys, I was shocked, and I mean shocked, to find out that Thomas was supposed to be in disguise.
This is the best. Brandon, I couldn't stop
I
laughing.
couldn't
This
believe
is
it.
the best. It's so great.
When he takes off his glasses and
and
hat,
He's wearing
and
a hat.
Cyrus is like, "Aren't you supposed to be dead?" That was like a
It was like a removal.
If
of
it
a
wasn't for
Mission
these meddling
Impossible.
kids, yeah.
It was impossible.
Yes,
mask
Mission
is what
Impo-
happened there.
It was I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe. I just thought he was trying a new thing. Like he's at a reception. I've got to put on
He's
my
a little
hat.
older. It's been 2 years. He needs the glasses.
Yes. No, but that was him in disguise.
Oh my gosh.
All
It
right,
was so
Clark
great.
Kent, take it down a notch.
I can't believe Thomas has been in the room the whole time.
This is insane. This is insane. It frustrates me that Kat has somehow, over the course of, I don't know how long it's been since she found the songbook.
Last week.
She's memorized them all. She has memorized all the songs, and she's just she looks up at the sky and she starts spouting off verses like she's, I don't know, a lyricist. Dang it, I missed. I should have had something prepared. But she's more prepared than I am. She has the lyrics ready to go. Just top a dome like it's closing time that we've all been singing for our entire lives.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I was already pretty fed up with the 1800s, but then Jacob, Kat comes clean about being responsible for, I tried to save my dad, our dad, and I ended up being the one responsible for his death. And he says to her, "I don't even know who I'm talking to." Do you know, that line hits really, really, really hard when you actually know the person.
That's
you
right.
spent time with them. They barely know each
Correct.
other. So it's I don't even know who I'm talking to. Literally everything that you know about her should lead you to believe that she had something to do with it.
Yeah.
There's almost everything you know about her is that she cannot stop time traveling. She's an addict. She definitely had something to do with it. You shouldn't be surprised. So this whole I don't even know who I'm talking to anymore. Just say that to somebody that you literally barely do know who you're talking to doesn't have quite the gravitas
Doesn't have the same
that
sting.
you're hoping for with a line like that. Dan?
You guys remember when Jacob tried to shoot Cyrus Goodwin in broad daylight in a dance barn and everyone acts like they cannot see him?
He held that gun up for so long.
Calm it down, Jacob Wilkes Booth. You are in a room that is well lit and you are standing behind, I'm going to check my notes here, nothing. You have a
And
gun.
he wasn't even wearing a hat.
You-
Everyone would have known
you
who he
have
is.
glasses. and
No
a hat.
disguise, nothing.
You have a gun pulled in broad daylight, looking down. And when I say broad daylight, nobody correct me. I know the dance is at night. There's only like 15 people in this room. You are standing out there and you're trying to shoot him. Nobody sees him. Nobody's like, hey, what's the deal with dude in the corner with gun brandished? No one has done that.
At a certain point, it gets to be offensive. Like, they don't think
Yeah.
I have what it takes.
That's right.
They're just ignoring me altogether. I have a gun. I've held it out here for 25 seconds, and everyone's like, there he is again. Doesn't have what it takes.
Brandon and I are watching this episode unfurl, and as they're building tension, I finally just go, can no one see him? Like, can no one in that room see the guy that's just there clearly? Like, not even hidden at all? It was crazy. Not as crazy as Kat knowing this dance. She knows.
She learned it in PE class.
She knows. Right, guy, are you all right over there?
Yeah, this is really Brandon. He's not even wearing a hat. Was really funny. That was really funny, Brandon.
There is no world where she just knows this dance. It is a complicated dance. She just knows it. She just knows the dance.
Can you imagine us out there trying to act like we know?
Trying to just fit in with one of these and like spinning, being like trying to 1800s. I know how to 1800s. Don't try to 1800s me. And she
Maybe
also,
it was a great
It's
episode.
like
I don't know.
Jacob showing up and trying to do the stanky leg or something.
that's right.
And you're
Yes.
just like,
You're like,
what's going on?
stanky leg was pretty easy.
Jacob, how did you
Yeah,
learn
no,
to
no,
pop
yeah,
lock
yeah.
and
Easiest
drop
dance.
it?
He knows
Like,
how to Dougie? Can
Yeah.
you believe that?
Soldier boy.
Also, Kat knows the exact second the moon's going to disappear, and it's
Talent.
she
Listen,
plays it like a fiddle. I mean, she to perfection times out when it's going to happen and when to take the handcuffs off to make it reappear. And she does all of that for what I can tell you is literally no reason at all. Because in 2 scenes earlier, Cyrus Goodwin is like, hey, I need a witch on my side. If you agree to be my witch, I'll spare everybody. And she says, I can't do that, but I do know some things. and he says, not good enough. What if you said, I've put a spell on the moon, and unless you let everybody go, the moon is going to disappear and I'm going to keep it. If you just play along with him a little bit that you're a witch, I think he's going to buy it at this point. You've done enough to prove that he thinks you are witch. So I like real missed opportunity there, Kat. I don't know why you didn't take it. And then lastly, this one really bothered me. Nick, who we all know very well, Ryan knew his name immediately as soon as he saw him, is talking with Elliot. And Elliot's like, you're not doing the boat thing anymore. And then Nick says this line, it's just kind of a gong show. And here's the thing, Way Home Writers, is I think you forgot what decade you were writing in, because that show came out in 1975 and would have been a great cultural reference for teenagers in 1975 to be like, I'm out of here, man. This is a real gong show. But in 2025, I mean, that's 50 years ago. Can you
50th
imagine?
anniversary.
Can you imagine a 42, 3-year-old person being like, it's a real gong show out there? No, I've never heard that in my life.
Was
I'm 41.
that saying like it's a gong show? Is that like because of the TV show?
Yeah,
or
the
was
gong
it
show
a-
is wild.
Was it a saying before that, and that's why they called it gong show?
No, I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure they call it that because of the show. It is just it's a saying that just like, unless they're telling you.
Sorry, Rig.
No, wait, what?
Hello
there.
You as the spelling bee expert.
I'm out on the catamaran right now.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm
Really
just
quickly.
casting a line.
Okay, I know you're.
Service may go in and out.
Okay,
Hey, right now, big hookers 2 for $1 at Fitzy's.
okay. Really quickly.
Those are drinks, Ryan.
Really
You
quickly.
look too invested, Ryan.
Come on, Wrigley. You're going to make me regret this. Really
Wrong.
quickly.
Yep.
You
Yep.
have a history of being a spelling bee host.
Correct.
Gong show. Language
Yeah.
of origin. Where did it come from?
It's an American word. It can be used with a G or D. You can pronounce it gong or dong. You can pronounce it either way.
Well, at least Brand doesn't regret it.
The Dong Show. Nobody knew that show, but it existed too, and that's a weird reference.
Now that's just in the basement of Fitzy's every other week.
I got a bite on the line. Be right back. It's a real Dong Show out here.
Remember when the folks on the way home just thought we were professional wrestlers talking about their program?
Those were better times.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it for my Wait What's, Brandon. Thanks for bringing Rig in, though.
It's time for Sink or Swim. It's where we talk about things that are sinking or swimming. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, so Kat and Elliot are definitely end game per that's a those are minus
Pretty much
1200
canon at this
odds.
point.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's definitely, if this show is fortunate enough to go many seasons,
Stop it.
That's where we'll end in the finale as they're playing the final coda. But past Nick was right. Not about the Gong Show or any other show, but by the construct that the show has created, Kat and Elliot, and I've definitely said this before, I think last season, Kat and Elliot are as toxic and terrible, not because we don't like their real life actors' chemistry. They ignore each other. They've been decades apart.
They don't communicate.
She yelled at him. She
It's
said
real
she had to babysit him a couple weeks ago. They can't possibly ever just be in the same place at the same time. There was that whole incident about the milk. They don't like each other most of the time. And this Emma, Ashley, Emily, Amy, whatever, it doesn't matter what her name is. She seems really delightful, and they seem to like really boost each other up, Elliot and Emma. So Nick from, I don't know what timeline it was, but a long time ago, he said, Emma's the best thing that ever happened to you. He was right. Listen to Nick and tell us what his name is.
Classic pep talk from Nick.
Yep.
Classic.
It's a classic pep talk. So the thing that I can't figure out, and you talk about the chemistry piece of it, I'm not sure if there's a chance that's how they're playing it that way.
Because they know that Elliot and Kat are in game and they want to give you as much rope to make you think they're not.
Yeah,
Is that what
something
you
like
think?
that. That's the only thing because they had great chemistry.
In season 1, they did.
They had great chemistry.
They
And
did.
now that they're together, they suddenly something feels off. And in the back of her mind, she's always thinking about Thomas, and he's always being insecure and like trying to get milk.
Kissing Emma, Amy, and Ashley.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to swim, and I'm going to say they're doing it on purpose.
Okay. Does that make good television?
Dan?
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby!
I'm sinking purely because this episode of television was so bad that there's a point where Nick and Elliot are talking, and then Emma comes to the door, and then he's like, we're about to leave. Let's all go out and have a drink. And then we cut away from that storyline and we cut back and they're walking back in the door like, oh, that was fun. And I was like, well, why didn't we see any, why did we need that? Why didn't we see any of that night out? Like, why didn't we
because the 60s called and they were feeling left out. We had to show the 60s.
That's where we are. Why even do it? If you're not going to show it, just have them come in and be like, sit down, I'll make you a cup of tea. And then we come back and I don't have to worry about like what we missed dialogue wise. We're there waiting on us to return as viewers.
That scene was a real Gong Show.
It's a
am I
real
right?
Gong Show out there. It's a real Gong Show out there.
We did, everybody. Congratulations to us.
I want to be very clear. I think the Gong Show reference is on purpose, and Nick is either from 1975 or traveling back to that era, and I think it's on purpose. And I want to be very clear about that right now before I see any comments. I think it's
Don't even say that.
I think
Dan.
it's terrible. And I think it's awful, but I think it's true. Why else would they say, we got sidetracked with Rig. I was going to finish with that. Why else would they say that? There's no reason to write it's a real Gong Show out there into the script if you're not going to have it come back for something.
I'm gonna have to start making much more detailed notes to like.
Yeah.
They're doing so. You're probably right. Like this.
That brand loves it.
Yeah, because it's not like they grew up in that time period.
Correct. They grew up in 99.
Right.
There was
So what does
no
that
reason.
mean for when Alice had the hots for him in the 90s?
It means he could 100%. Well, no, I don't know what it means for that. I mean, it could 100% be traveling back to that time, though. He could have been doing it all along.
He could have traveled back in time and become obsessed with the show, and he goes to every taping, and that's the rest of
He's a
the
big Gong
series.
Show guy.
He loves the Gong Show.
He's a big Gong
They
Show
brought
guy.
it back in the early 2000s. So I mean, that honestly, that as next season would be great. Just like Nick's like,
Didn't they bring it back with Mike Myers as the host briefly? And it was super duper racist and not okay at all. And I can't believe they did it.
Was that a thing?
I think so.
Oh my.
Maybe I'm wrong, but he played an Asian character, I think.
Oh dear.
What are you doing? Are you okay?
I just can't believe it. What we did, everybody. What's the Popsicle Twins, isn't it? We'll look up on this later, guys. We're done. We're done here. Ryan, you got anything else for the people?
No, I'll keep you updated. You want to see the Human Torch figure? I might have Brian Austin Green sign.
He did not play an Asian character. I just looked it up. I just want to be very clear.
Thank God.
What were you thinking of, Dan?
I thought he got in trouble. He got in trouble for one of his portrayals in one of his movies, and but that's who he played. He played this guy. Yeah. Oh wow! Look at that.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool. That's
get
cool
a baby
stuff.
blue. Get a baby blue paint pen on the window there. I'll be.
Oh boy, you really think through everything to the pin color.
I'm a thorough boy.
You're a thorough boy. All right, thorough boy. We'll be back next week with another one. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.